Welcome to a very wet Parnell Park for this go-ahead Dublin Senior Football Championship clash of Castleknock and Round Towers of Lusk. It is a big game. If Castleknock win, then they go through to the knockout stages. There's another game going on in the group at the moment as well. Whitehall playing Lucan, and we'll keep an eye on that one. That one is going on over in O'Toole Park. But if Castleknock and Whitehall win the group and Castleknock go through in second. If Lucan and Castleknock win, it comes down to scoring difference between Lucan, Castleknock and Whitehall. If Whitehall win and Round Towers win, it comes down to score difference between Lucan, Castleknock and Round Towers. If both games end in a draw, Whitehall go through as group winners and Castleknock as second place teams on the head-to-head. I hope I haven't lost you in all that. We'll keep updating you on the situation throughout the day. But look, it's very, very simple. If Whitehall win and Castleknock win, they both go through. With me for this game, former All-Ireland winner with Dublin, Paul Clark. Paul, how are you?
Good afternoon, thank you, Oisin. Yeah, great to be here.
What are you expecting from today's game? These are two teams that you've had a good look at so far this year.
Yeah, in the group itself, Whitehall is my old club, so they played Whitehall in the previous rounds. They were both fairly competitive games. Whitehall in the first game against Lusk were very strong, very competitive. I think they had a full selection of players to come and play for them. That was including the Dublin hurlers. So that made Whitehall pretty strong and put up a big scoreline against them. Gave them a bit of confidence against Castleknock. But maybe a lot of people remember that went on social media, that goal that Cormac Costello took, they actually took a bad free and dropped short, and there's a bit of confusion on the goal line. So yeah, I've seen both sides, and I think it's going to be fairly interesting.
Well, let's have a look at the group table just to set the scene and give you an idea of what's happening. Whitehall, Colmkill on 4 points, Castleknock second on 2 points, Lucan third on 2 points, Round Towers bottom of the table. Round Towers have had a fairly meteoric rise in the last couple of years, winning the intermediate in 2018, the Senior Football 2 in 2019. In the last 2 years they have kept their status, which is a big deal. Of course, in 2020 there was no relegation, but last year they stayed in Senior Football. So that's how the group looks. And in the other game going on this afternoon in this group, Whitehall, Colmkill up against Lucan. Later, by the way, we've got Nafina against Skerries. That is live from Parnell Park. Just in case you were confused, Nafina and Skerries not in this group, but we have that game later on. For Castleknock, Kieran Kilkenny is back in the country. He's back in the squad, but it looks like he's not starting.
Yeah, I see him there moving pretty well in the warm-up, but he's fully togged out, tracksuit bottoms on and all, so I'm sure he'll get some game time at some stage. They would expect to win today. They expect to be in the quarter-final, so I'm sure they want to get some game time into Kieran.
It's an experienced Castleknock against a young Round Towers of Lusk. 3 of their team got their Leaving Cert results yesterday. Keelan Harford, Daniel Grobler and Aaron Naughton.
Yeah, they got their points yesterday, so they want to get a few points today, hopefully. I think they're going to have a big challenge. Like as you said, Castleknock are a very experienced team. I know a number of the players from O'Byrne Cup, and I know that some of them have been in Desi's Farrell and late Jim Gavin's panel as well. So it'd be interesting to see how they deploy their men around the pitch. Strong around the fence, middle third, and then the likes of Ben Gallivan up front, and Tommy McDaniel, fellas that can create scores and take scores.
When Castleknock breaking off and getting into their positions, reached a senior county final in recent years. Unfortunately for them, didn't win it, but a bit like Round Towers of Lusk, they've had a significant rise over the last couple of years. Round Towers of Lusk, just to remind you, in the white jerseys with that blue stripe. Castleknock in the blue and gold, although it is a man who would be familiar with blue and gold who's in charge of Round Towers of Lusk. Colin O'Brien, former Tipperary footballer, has been living in Dublin and around Lusk for a few years at this stage. It is raining, it is wintry conditions. What effect will that have?
Yeah, well, I suppose players have been used to hard, dry, hot conditions over the last number of weeks, so first thoughts are, what's the underfoot conditions like? Pitch would be very hard. I don't think even 4 or 5 hours of rain would have softened that up. They'd probably have to decide what sort of boots they're going to wear. They've probably been training in mouldies and playing in moulded boots for the last number of months, so did they go with a longer stud, a blade or a steel stud, and then obviously then getting gloves right, digging them out of the bottom of the bag and taking the crust off them.
Darren Delaney about to get the game underway. Castleknock against Round Towers of Lusk. I was listening to KFM in Kildare on the way up today, and even though I came from Dundalk, but listening to it on the way down, I suppose. And there was a game on in the Intermediate Championship, 6 points to 5 at half time. That is not a reflection on the teams, it is a reflection maybe on the weather, and I think we might see something similar here. It might be a little bit tighter than we're used to over the last couple of weeks, because it's really difficult to play football in these conditions. Oisin Berg, who has played his way into the senior setup in the last couple of years, gets it forward to Adam Cole, whose brother Luke is at the back. It's recycled to Kieran McKittrick. Jack Hussey, such a key cog in this team, gets it outside. Here's Oisin Berg again. Berg back into the path of Naughton. One of those players that I mentioned before the game who got his leaving cert results yesterday. Serious amount of youth in this team. Chris Tonge. Tonge made the run in behind. They didn't give it to him. A couple of changes in the Round Towers of Lusk team. Stevie Moore is in to start, as is Killian Healy, otherwise known as Paddy. Cormac Cowley drops out. Liam Bowen is out. He's been replaced by Sean Bollard.
I think Cormac Cowley will be a huge loss to Lusk. He's been a key player to them for a number of years now, so his loss is Lusk's loss.
Jack Hussey, a player I'm sure you know, Paul, well. He's building up quite the reputation, quite a player. Ball sent across by McKittrick. It was left off by Chris Tonge, but he knew he had back up there in the shape of Aaron Naughton. Castleknock yet to get their hands on the ball, but they won't panic about that because Lusk haven't got in behind them. Adam Cole, it's a free in. They worked hard for it. Shane Boland, the player manager, appears to be the one to have given it away.
Yeah, this won't be easy now for a free taker, first kick, and they're actually kicking into a bit of a breeze. Castleknock have the breeze at the moment. They dropped everybody back there, maybe just to settle things down and get into the game.
Well, they will feel they should have 2 wins on the board. That heartbreaking defeat against Whitehall Columkill, that Costello free that dropped into the net, stealing the victory from them. They will have maybe taken confidence from the performance that day. That's kicked wide by Adam Cole, the captain.
Yeah, that's not what he really wanted, but it was a difficult free. He just needed to settle himself a little bit more, and having held possession for 3 or 4 minutes, they would have hoped to get a score out of that.
Lucan leading by 1 point to no score in the other game that's going on concurrently over in O'Toole Park, up against Whitehall Columkill. Some may say they got a slice of luck against Castleknock, but you have to stay in a game, you have to make your own luck, and when you've got players like Cormac Costello on the pitch, anything can happen. As I said at the time, not his best goal, but possibly one of his biggest for the club. Here's Rob Shaw. Round Towers have an extra man back. Castleknock comfortable in possession. McDaniel.
Yeah, Towers have dropped their wing half forward back to sort of play as a +1 to protect that square area.
McDaniel gets it out to Tom Shields. Shields wants it back, gets it back. That rain is getting heavier, it's really tough conditions. Kevin Kinlan. Shane Boland. Round Towers with 13 players behind the ball. Owen O'Brien. Kevin Kinlan. Off it goes to Owen Sawyer. Young but not afraid to go into contact, Owen Sawyer, as we've seen already. Tom Shields drops it, tries to regather, just kind of kicks it forward. Milmore tries to make it his and does. Well, it's actually Shields, I beg your pardon. And that is a free in for Castleknock. They were patient, they've been rewarded. Granted, it's a free from a tough angle.
Yeah, again, it's it's both teams sort of just feeling each other out and seeing how it goes. As you said, two Lusk v2 Castleknock right at the back there, but they're sorting themselves out again. I would expect with the scorelines that Castleknock have put up the championship so far, that they would be trying to get a high scoreline up today. It's important for them to come back from that last defeat against Whitehall.
No scores here yet. We've had 2 over in O'Toole Park, 1 point apiece there. Taking that free is Tommy McDaniel. He was unlucky.
Now in previous games, Castleknock have pushed up right on kick out, so I expect them to do that. They were sort of doing a 4 press, a 2, and then pushing everybody else up. This is for them to force a turnover if they can.
Oh, and they've given it away. No, they haven't. It was darting in there to get it was James Hanratty, a man who's played League of Ireland football with Drogheda United. Laid off by Moore, who's making his championship debut for Round Towers of Lusk today. Hanratty. Luke Cole. Moore. It's important on your debut to get a few touches early on, isn't it? And he's done that, and they were good touches as well. Hasn't given it away, hasn't made any mistake. Chris Tonge.
Yeah, it's a game that could happen, like handling errors or ball skidding or fellas bouncing the ball and skidding away from him. So, cut out the errors and you have a better chance. But if you're making those mistakes, it could easily be costly.
Sean Bollard was the aim, but it's turned over by Castleknock.
They look to break very quickly if at all possible. But they need to get more players up the pitch easily. They've only one inside the 50.
Kevin Kinlan looking for Sawyer, beaten to it by the defender who just hacked it away. It went up in the air and luckily fell for his teammate Aaron Naughton. Stephen Harford lays it off to Naughton. As you'd expect, full of running. McKittrick. Well, a lot of these young players from Round Towers of Lusk would have grown up watching this team win titles and go through the ranks, and they wanted to be part of that. You can see it. There's a real mix of youth and experience in this Round Towers of Lusk team. Still waiting our first score in this game.
Yeah, Lusk is an area that's getting bigger and bigger, and certainly it's...
Are we about to get that first score? Yes, we are. That's a magnificent point, a great run, a great finish. And it's James Hanratty.
Get a little error there from that kick out. You can't afford to lose balls there in that area. You can be punished.
Hanratty, no doubt, happy with that. He'll be hoping for a Drogheda United win. They're playing against Sligo Rovers tonight, his former team. Here's Rob Shaw. Well taken by Ben Galvin. Galvin snaked away from a tackle there. Comes from good stock.
His father wasn't a bad footballer in his day, alright.
Is that the best you can say about him? He wasn't a bad footballer.
He was probably one of those players that never got the credit that he deserved. Yeah. He was quite exceptional. The scores that he got for us, he got us crucial scores during the 90s, and a fantastic player. And he's turned into a decent golfer too.
That's Mark Cold. Whether you agree or disagree with the mark, it is something teams can use. It's something Castleknock hope to use to get the equaliser. And there is the equaliser. Kicked over by Tommy McDaniel. Hussey.
We've Shane Boland orchestrating things at the back for Castleknock at the moment. He seems to be well in control of what's happening.
Round Towers of Lusk going with Adam Burns in goal today, the normal keeper, not around this season. Again, another guy who's worked hard at the junior ranks and has been called upon. He's very reliable. Colin O'Brien had nothing but positive things to say about him before the game, and that's a little bit over the top from Tommy McDaniel, and it's a free.
I can never understand why a fella gets so close to man to make a good tackle and just dives in like that. There was no need for it. He's had to get a little word in the ear from the referee.
McKittrick back to Berg. Moore. Luke Cole. Just almost escaped the clutches of Jack Hussey. He did well to recover. Luke Cole goes backwards to Tonge. Tonge into the path of James Hanratty.
Lusk are doing really well to keep the play really wide here. They've players right out hugging both sidelines and someone right up at the edge of the square. So they're stretching Castleknock a bit, but they're positioning themselves well, Castleknock, in fairness to them. They're still hoping to get that turnover. Naughton,
he's got great feet, doesn't he? Goes for the pass. It's a little bit risky, but it is taken well out in front by Paddy Healy, and it's a free out. I think he picked it off the ground. Again, I'll repeat that he is called officially Killian Healy, but everyone refers to him as Paddy. Ben Galvin. Forward it goes from Forker. Gathering it is Sawyer. Sawyer absolutely buries it. What a finish.
Yeah. He made a great run across the pitch from left to right, create the space out in front of himself, and then, even though it was a little bit of a fumble, he backed himself all the way, and that's a super finish into the top corner.
And that could be a big, big goal for Castleknock. Remember, if they win, they're likely through.
Just see how Lusk react to that now. If they can get a score themselves, and settle them again. But they can't afford to go 2, 3 or 4 points behind if that's the case early on.
2 points apiece between Lucan and Whitehall Colmkill. Luke Cole. Stephen Harford. Adam Cole. Outside, Stevie Moore. McKittrick. Forward it goes from Harford into the hands of Adam Cole. James Hanratty. He's capable of penetrating defences, Hanratty. He doesn't do it on that occasion, but gives it to a man who can also do it, Nocton, who overcarries it, and it's a free out.
Look again, Castleknock don't have players up the pitch to do anything quick with it. It's a one-on-one.
Sawyer is going to try and turn Harford. Support coming from Shane Boland. Boland looking for McDaniel, just gets away from McDaniel, falls kindly for Adam Burns. Stealing in there with the fists was Tom Shields, but comes back to Round Towers. By the way, if it gets complicated today, we do have a member of the CCCC standing by to clarify things. You couldn't trust me with complicated numbers, Paul.
And the CCC, we can trust them, okay?
Of course we can. Of course we can. Nocton tries to get around Shaw. He was fouled. It's a free in.
Game is a bit broken up. There's a lot of frees being conceded, and teams seem to be happy. Both teams seem to be happy to do that.
McKittrick. That's risky enough, but it's a risk that pays off. Hanratty on the charge again, has a man outside. Instead gives it to Adam Cole. Grobbelaar. Adam Cole. Heaney back to Oisin Berg. Nocton, who's popping up everywhere so far. A really lively presence. Spilled and regathered by James Hanratty. Tonge. Hanratty thought about taking the shot instead. Gets it to McKittrick, who winds up and has a go. And that's a big score and a needed score.
Yeah, that's important. Again, very patient. Got a player in a really good position. Was confident taking the score. Nice one off his left foot too.
Shaw. Still 2 points apiece in the other game. Ben Galvin. Galvin looking for McDaniel and finding him. McDaniel has an option of Forker. Forker gets wrapped up. Takes too many steps and it's a free out, and that's a big win for Round Towers of Lusk to get that score and then to prevent Castleknock from getting one in response through sheer work rate and pressure.
Yeah, they had 4 players around them there, and one strong tackler went in and overcarried. So yeah, it's a lift for you. Can hear the few Lusk supporters in the crowd just raising their voices there a bit. So that's important to them, and the players can easily hear because it is such a quiet venue today.
It's not a great day for getting people out to a football match, is it? Yet they'll go to EP. I don't understand it. A surging run out of defence from Round Towers of Lusk. That's Hanratty. Moore. Good ball into the hands of Sean Bollard. Bollard turned the defence really well. Bollard still going. McKittrick. Castleknock just got bodies across and it closed down the angle. Harford goes through a gap, but it was knocked out of his hands by Tom Shields. Harford still battling for it and gets it back. And they win a free in, and that was purely for the work rate of Harford.
Yeah, like he went into the tackle and lost possession, but didn't give up on it. And none of the Castleknock lads were brave enough to go down and win that ball that was there for them. And in fairness to him, he kept on trying and forcing it.
McKittrick should be able to get round Towers of Lusk back to within 1 point. He does. It's his second of the game. One from play, one from a free.
That's a good press now from Lusk. They wouldn't have done that against Whitehall in the earlier round, so they're pressing it, which forces the longer kick out.
Grobler almost getting it into his hands. Grobler, whose dad is from South Africa. A decent rugby player as well, was on an academy contract in Leinster. Well, he might still be, actually. Only got his leaving cert results yesterday. Harford.
I think he looks doing it the hard way. He's dropping it again in the tackle, then he just wants to go and win the second phase ball himself.
If there's no one around him, he'll find someone to tackle him. Grobler and Harford, a very industrious midfield, two big guys. Grobler obviously quite young, but with that rugby background, look, a lot of young GA players do it as well, but of course in rugby it's very important to build up that muscle mass. That's a good skip by Jack Hussey. Hussey trying to shake off Shaw, goes outside. Oisin Berg. Well read by the defender, but it falls to Berg, who followed it up. McKittrick wants it and gets it. Cole. Adam Cole looks to equalise, didn't catch the shot right.
Yeah, Lusk are dangerous. When they put the ball in there where they won't bounce or better type of thing, when they slide along the ground, it is harder for the forward coming out. But when they pop it in with that bounce in front of the forward, he has the bit of advantage, and obviously the defender's deciding whether he should dive in and slide in and try and intercept.
Lucan 3 points to 2 up against Castleknock. One between them here. Round Towers of Lusk trying to do something about that. That would be a mighty effort if it was to go over. It won't. Doesn't have the legs. Milmore. Heard the call from inside, carried out there by fullback Owen O'Brien, a guy you worked with Dublin, played in the O'Byrne Cup for the Dubs, and
maybe
then he goes to ground.
Commentator's course there. Yeah, he's a fine footballer, fine athlete, but just as he delivered that pass there, he's out there grabbing seems to be his right calf. There's possibly a pull. I wonder, has the conditions got something to do with that? But he went down very, very quickly on the foot pass. He'll be a loss now in that full back line for them. He's a pure number 3, and to try and replace him would be the thing.
Shane Boland. Remember, they still have Kieran Kilkenny waiting in the wings. Send him Forker. Boland.
Yeah, the physio's making a signal there that a substitution is going to be needed for Owen.
Off camera, he's not moving particularly well as Boland takes the ball and just eats up the clock a bit. Forker let it off to Ben Galvin. Shane Boland. Ger McDermott Rowe, the Roscommon man. Shaw
will be strong going forward now. That's what he's renowned for. Those half-back bursts.
That was a beautiful volleyed pass into the path of Shane Boland. I think that came from McDermott Rowe. Looping run from Kevin Kinlan. Ben Galvin.
No options inside for Ben.
He did well to win the free. Took on Harford, who was kind of clumsy in his tackle.
Yeah, I just think maybe the quick feet of Ben just stepped to his right, and he wasn't able to move his feet well enough to get a proper tackle in.
Well, Castleknock have been forced into a change. Owen O'Brien is a huge loss. They have brought in Paul Burke. Who's running straight back into the full back line.
Yeah, and he's gone straight into the full back position straight away, taking up looks full forward.
Well, they've just been dealt a loss and a blow. The loss being Owen O'Brien going off. That's a blow. And the boost being Dermot Rowe scoring that free, which wasn't a gimme in these conditions. I know it was in a central position, but it was far out and the conditions are not great. Granted, there isn't a very strong breeze. It is just very, very wet. Grobbler. He's up for this today, Grobbler. No wobbly legs from this particular Grobbler. Viewers of a certain age, of a young age, will have no idea what I'm talking about there.
I know what you're talking about, unfortunately.
Liverpool and Roma in what was then the European Cup final. Google it after the match. It's worth a watch, actually.
I'd like Lusk now maybe to try and get a bit of ball in. They have been patient so far, but that's a new full back in there. Maybe just to get him challenged early on and try not to let him settle into the game.
Harford. Here's the call from Tonge. Tonge is another one who's actually played rugby to a high level. He's tackled by Shaw, and it's a free in. Harford shovels it back to Tonge. It's not the paciest game in the world, but one would expect that in these conditions. Although, just as I said, that Hussey goes on a sprint. That's a good pass. Hanratty leaves it behind, tries to hack it on, and it's intercepted by Dermot Rowe.
Yeah, fine defending, staying between the player and where he wanted to go for a long period of time. Just upset him and then lost possession.
Milmore will definitely keep this one in play. Pops it off to Sawyer, who scored the only goal of the game so far. That was his only real sight of goal. It's a very good sign of a forward. He got one chance and he took it. McDermott Rowe. An unusual pass outside. Tom Shields keeps it in play. He knew he could put a bit of air on that because Round Towers of Lusk had dropped so far back that if he kicked it backwards, there was going to be no one in a white jersey get to it. Shane Boland. On the Lupus.
It's our sub Paul. It's just in the game and it's giving it away.
But running onto this Forker. Forker tries to get it off to Ben Galvin. Just got away from Galvin. Oisin Berg takes the possession. He's a little bit isolated. He's been tackled and harassed and harried by McDaniel, but he did well to get it to Hanratty. Tonge. Luke Cole took it out, delivered now to Adam Cole. Oisin Berg. McKittrick. Tonge.
I'm surprised at the ease that Lusk are coming up the pitch. Like Castleknock are not putting any tackles in until they get about to the 45 there. They turn her over well.
And away they go. Tom Shields with a very good pass. A long delivery from Boland. McDaniel. He's got a runner outside. Milmore is now joining him. McDaniel will take it on himself. He'll go for it. And he won't get it. That's a bad miss for Castleknock.
That's disappointing, yeah. I know, and that's bread and butter for him. Steps, lovely step from left to right onto his right foot. Should just curl her over.
Lucan 5 points. Whitehall Colmkill 5 points after 22 minutes in O'Toole Park. At half time we'll try and give you some view of what the table will look like. There's a lot of moving parts at the moment, so it will be a bit pointless now. Slipped through the hands there of Paddy Healy. Castleknock at the free out. Shaw, followed by Harford. Just lays it off for McDermott Rowe. The rain had lightened for a few minutes. It's heavy enough again. Castleknock with another error, and it's a free in to Round Towers of Lusk. They want to take it quickly, and now they'll take it from a closer in position.
This is more difficult than the first three he missed in the first few minutes, so we'll just see as he settled into the game and concentrate on it, because it is important for him to get this.
Well, they're looking to narrow the gap to 1. He works it rather than kicks it. Hanratty, Naughton, Cole, Naughton, Tonge, Oisin Berg makes his way down the right. He's unmarked at the moment. Now he's being covered. Grobbler, Berg, Grobbler to Tonge. Goes short. Harford. Good tackle. Strong hand in there from Tom Quinn. Breaking ball won by Round Towers of Lusk. And now it's a free out. Just held up there by the Castleknock defenders.
Again, they got numbers around it. Again, ball was carried into the tackle initially.
McDaniel to Shields. He's got Sawyer inside.
He needs a shooter off his shoulder if at all possible.
Sawyer winds up and goes for it, and it was blocked down. Getting a hand in there was Harford, Keelan Harford. Another one of the Leaving Cert crew.
Again, Castleknock are dropping right back. No one in the full forward line is attempting to get a tackle in there. And your team, when you're looking up the pitch, to see your forwards put in that little bit more of an effort and work rate, you know, it lifts them a bit too, to know that's where the challenges go.
Back to the goalkeeper, Burns.
That's more like it now, to try and put a bit of pressure on them.
Moore.
Sean Moore is doing all that work on his own, really. He's had to go from keeper to cornerback.
Oh, it's given away by Hanratty. He's frustrated. You can hear it. Kevin Kinlan intercepted. Spills it. And we'll go back for a free.
Yeah, young Sean Morden there, he tackled and hassled the goalkeeper cornerback, and he chased it actually down to the halfway line. And even though he was 5 yards away from the turnover, he had a big part to play in getting that turnover.
Juggled and regathered by Galvin. Looking for Sawyer. That's really well taken by Sawyer, despite the fact that Luke Hall was stuck to him. Here's Shields. Laid off for McDaniel. McDaniel back outside. Shane Boland was waiting. Boland gives that one air to Rob Shaw. It's well collected. There's no space to run into. There's no space to work with. So Castleknock go for a bit of an angel raker, which they score. That was a magnificent point. And it was kicked off the boot of McDermott Rowe. He's first from play.
Yeah, Shane Boland controlling it. He wanted people to go wide, and that was an excellent pass from him out there, and then the confidence then for McDermott Rowe to take a shot on. Fine score.
3 between them coming up to half time. Castleknock trying to increase the lead. McDaniel. McDermott Rowe going for 2 in a row. And getting it. He's on fire.
The eye is in. Yeah, that's nice for them come up to half time. Not so nice for Lusk. Now, Lusk would like to have kept this to maybe 4 or 5 points, but if Castleknock continued the way they're going, they might get the spread a little bit more before half time.
Well, they missed the sitter a couple of minutes ago, Castleknock, but they've just kicked over 2 of the most difficult points you can imagine. McDermott Rowe getting both.
From both teams, we've seen some great left-footed kicks today from play. McKittrick at one end with Lusk, and McDermott Rowe on the other end.
Luke Cole bringing it forward. They're trying to find a route through if they possibly can, but there's a bit of a blue and gold wall there to meet them. Here's McKittrick. McKittrick looking for Healy. Grobbler. Jack Hussey, we know he can get scores, but he wants to get closer to goal. Here's Tonge. It's a risky one, but it was met by Bollard, who laid it off for Cole. Cole has to go back outside, and it's easily intercepted by Kieran Murphy.
From his first free early on, his confidence hasn't been up. He decided not to take a free a few minutes ago, And I really thought when he burst through there, taking the ball off the shoulder, there was a shot on off his left foot. He didn't. That's a nasty collision there.
And it was one of those tackles that there was no need to make, because even if Sawyer had got it, there was no one around him. He had no support. Well, let's hope he's okay. That's the main thing. Remember, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, Dubs TV, and any live games that we have or anything else that we're showing you, that will pop up. You won't need to find it. It will just be there for you whenever it's on. Conor Gallagher, by the way, has got a goal for Luke, and they lead Whitehall Columkill 1-7 to 5 points coming up to half time. Table ramifications to come at half time. Here, Castleknock are doing what they need to do to go through to the quarterfinals. They lead by 1-4 to 3 points. If Lucan and Castleknock win, it comes down to scoring difference between Lucan, Castleknock and Whitehall, so that makes it a little bit complicated, but we still have a lot of football to play. It is half time. Castleknock lead by 1-4 to 3 points. Paul, what have you made of it so far?
Yeah, there was a lot of sussing each other out and getting themselves settled into the game. I thought it might take off a bit from there, particularly from the Castleknock end, because they've a team that have been scoring highly in their previous two games, but their amount of players that they've played forward in previous rounds just wasn't there. They've had left 2 up rather than the 4 up, and they've been trying to work on the counter attack, and it has worked for them. And the goal came from a one-on-one situation, well taken on, and a fine score. But I'd say they'd be glad for McDaniel Tong to take those 2 scores off his left foot. It was really key to them to go in with that 4-point lead. Okay, let's have a look at some of the highlights of the game so far. All of the scores from the first half, and Round Towers of Lusk got the opener. It was a good score as well, Paul, wasn't it? Yeah, it was something that I'd be really happy about. They've worked hard. Actually, any scores that Lusk got was from hard work and a bit of endeavour and patience. But that itself can take a bit of energy out of you. And then if after that you don't get a score, it can have the opposite effect. Yep, McDaniel with a good mark here. Here's Sawyer's goal. Well finished. Put it the only place he could, because there was a man on the line as well as the goalkeeper to beat. But in fairness to Lusk, they responded. Yeah, no, you'd be disappointed with Castleknock having so many players back that someone could be free at the top of the D like that to be able to take a score. This is just hard work from a midfielder that someone just wouldn't give up on it. With 3 or 4 different players around them and still fought for it, so that's a good score for them. Castleknock, that was a lovely volley touch into the path of Shane Boland there. And that was a really well taken score. Not the only one we've seen today. Shaw up and down that wing all day, works incredibly hard. Ger McDermott row. No one tackled him. There was a lot of bodies back there, but he had the time and space to go for it. Yeah, he had the confidence to do it. I don't think Lusk thought he was going to take a shot on like that. But once bitten, twice shy. That's twice he stood off, and 2 scores he's after getting, which is very important going in at half time. So those are the highlights from the first half. Let me just try and see if I can get a latest from O'Toole Park, where Lucan are taking on Whitehall Columkill. It becomes a little bit complicated if Lucan win and Castleknock win, but as I say, we've got the county board looking at that, and they'll inform us as to exactly what happens and what the ramifications are of the results today. Lucan leading by 1-7 to 5 points against Whitehall Columkill. So just to remind you, if Lucan and Castleknock win, it comes down to scoring difference between Lucan, Castleknock and Whitehall. So it'll be very, very tight. The calculators may need to come out. At half time in the game we're showing you live on Dubs TV, it is Castleknock who lead Round Towers of Lusk 1-4 to 3 points. We'd love for you to join the conversation on hashtag GoAheadDSF1, and don't forget to subscribe to the Dubs TV YouTube channel. We'll be back with second half commentary and analysis very soon, so join us for that.
Welcome back for the second half of Round Towers Lusk against Castleknock. Castleknock leading by 1-4 to 3 points here in a rainy Parnell Park. What do Lusk need to do to get back into the game? Granted, they're only 4 points behind.
Yeah, like I suppose we said he'd be happy enough with 4 or 5 points down, but they were playing with a little bit of a breeze early on in the first half, and that seems to have died and come a little bit across us. I think again they got to believe in what they set out to do, was to be patient and work their scores. Like they've been getting the majority of their scores from play. Let's keep on doing that, and maybe force a free or two and see can they get into it and get as close as they can and strike for goal. You know, previous rounds they've only been scored in 1-7 and 1-8, so they haven't been racking up huge scores, whereas the likes of Castleknock have been doing the complete opposite, like hitting 3-14 and 3-15 and 2-16 in previous games. So you know there is a distinct difference in the scoring threats. But look, you know, Lusk have put a good shift in so far. I don't see any changes to their team, so you know they're confident the way things are going.
I'm just looking around for Mr. Kilkenny to see if he's been put on by Castleknock for the second half. Not as of yet, but things are going okay. They are 4 points to the good and look like they're capable of getting more scores than Round Towers of Lusk so far. Lucan 1-7, Whitehall Colmkill 6 points is a latest score. They're just starting the second half of that game in O'Toole Park, so we'll keep an eye on that because that could affect who goes through and who doesn't. Castleknock, all they'll be thinking about at the moment is trying to win. Whatever happens after that is out of their control. If they don't go through, they will be thinking of that goal though that they conceded against Whitehall Colmkill. It's football and it happens, but the fact that it happened so late and the fact that it happened when it did and when they looked like they were going to get the win, that's what will really frustrate and disappoint them. It won't be as big a disappointment if they can find a way through. McDermott Rowe, who scored 3 absolutely beautiful points in the first half, 1 from a free, 2 from play. Ben Galvin, Tom Shields. McDermott Rowe sells the dummy, spills it, regathers, trying to get away from Berg. Senan Forker. Boland. Spilled forward, taking and turning is Galvin. Galvin moves it out the wing where there was a bit of time, was a bit of space. Popped up, running onto it, McDermott Rowe. Didn't have the time and space to shoot. That one's just kicked high in the air. Who's it going to land to? Fisted out, it lands to blue and gold, and it's guided over by Tommy McDaniel. Good score by the Westmeath man, his second of the game, his first from play. Originally from Ballingore, played Sigerson Cup football with Ungarda. Now very much part of this Castleknock team, Castleknock community. Keelan Harford took it under pressure from Shaw.
Yeah, that was a fine kick out, right out to the edge here, underneath the stand, and 15 metres out, played the mark. It's just unfortunate that he couldn't play it quicker up the pitch and had some players to the pitch to get it up there too.
Hanratty lays it off to Adam Cole. As it stands, Round Towers of Lusk heading into the relegation playoffs. A team who are relatively new to this level of football. Knocked it. Berg knocked it. Knockton carries. Knockton looking inside. That's a good take out in front. Harford just slightly overplayed it, but luckily it fell kindly. Moore.
We're talking about the young structure that's coming through, and Lusk, Lusk have been doing well over the last number of years, and the whole area out there is growing, immensely with new estates and new schools. And I know Jerry Sievers from Ballybuckle is in charge of their underage structure and coaching structure out there as the games promotions officer, and he's a Ballybuckle lad, but he's been doing great work for Lusk lately.
Jack Hussey lays it off to Oisin Berg. Chris Tonge. Well, the one thing they'll want to do is stay at the top in Senior 1, and look, even if they were to go down, they're a resilient bunch and they've had recent success at Senior 2 and Intermediate, so they could bounce back up, but they don't want to have to bounce, they want to stay, but they have a free in here. Well taken by McKettrick. Wanted to get the ball back. Trying to find a way through around Towers of Lusk. McKettrick has a goal. This would be a big boost for them. That's a wonderful score. McKettrick second from play, third overall.
It's definitely for the left footer aficionado. It's really a special kicking today from left footers. Some great scores.
1-7 for Lucan, 6 points for Whitehall Colmkill. That's the latest score from O'Toole Park. Good take, called the mark. Hanratty laid it off to Naughton. We'll come back.
It's something that would frustrate me when a player jumps in free space on his own. I don't know why he doesn't just play on, because he knows there's nobody around him, you know, and that was an opportunity to take the mark and push on very quickly, and probably would have caught Castleknock on the hop.
Well, going off is Kevin Kinlan. Coming on is, well, guess who?
Yeah.
Kieran Kilkenny. It's not bad, is it, when you're able to call on one of the best footballers to ever play the game as a sub in a club match?
Yeah, so is that a lift for Castleknock? Does it give Lusk a bit of a lull? But I'd say a lot of those Lusk lads are only too happy now to have a go at Kieran and test themselves against one of the best, as you said. Interesting to see where he goes. Is he going to go into a half-forward type role and get on the ball?
Well, he's been away on his travels. He, like all inter-county footballers, put in a lot of hard work this year, as he has done over the years, so you wouldn't deny him a break. But I imagine it will be tough out there. Your lungs will be burning, having not played a whole pile of football since Dublin's exit.
The only water he's probably seen lately is in water parks.
Tom Quinn is fouled. It's a free out, which will be taken by Kieran Kilkenny. That's his first touch into the path of Sawyer, who scored a goal against Whitehall Colmkill. Scored a goal here today as well. Lays it off for Senan Forker. Ben Galvin thought about having a go. Free incoming anyway.
Yeah, Kieran seems to be going like in a left half forward role.
McDermott Rowe spins it over.
Could we have a guess how many left-footed scores today?
I didn't keep count, but McDermott Rowe scored 4 points, and McKittrick
same. So we're probably 7 or 8 maybe at this stage.
Well, someone did tell me from Round Towers of Lusk that McKittrick has a wand of a left foot. We've seen him work his magic so far today. Not enough to keep it tight enough, but only 5 points in it and 23 minutes to go, so they won't give up quite yet. Here's a shot from Hanratty, which just didn't have the legs. Should have gone with the left. Boland lays it off. Shifting it on is Tom Quinn. Cole almost steals in there. Scarpering back is Milmore. Milmore does well under a lot of pressure. Paul Burke, who replaced Owen O'Brien in the first half. Owen O'Brien went off injured. Kieran Kilkenny gave that one a little bit too much. Shane Boland's running back. Kilkenny. He's just kind of protecting that full back line at the moment, Kilkenny, isn't he? Or linking it, maybe is the right term to use. And then they give it away. Hussey. Can he get a shot away? Paddy Healy, no. Lays it off. Hussey followed the ball. Cole. Back to Hussey. Hussey winds up.
Very speculative from there now. He was at to get on the ball twice. I don't think that was the right option at all. Having won the ball back and got it up the pitch, really was very speculative.
They are missing a couple of players today, Cormac Cowley and Liam Bowen. Cormac Cowley, who's been part of Dublin training panels, played in the O'Byrne Cup. That's a big loss.
He's a very talented footballer. He's someone that's very key to them. He was named in the corner forward, but would expect him to play at half forward, centre forward, and he drives a player so well. Very athletic. So yeah, a huge loss to them. And I think they have a few players away on holidays as well, and some have travelled abroad, so they would say themselves that they're not at full strength maybe coming into this championship. So like for them to hold their own and not, if they get into a relegation battle, that they don't get relegated, they'd be quite happy to see those players coming back for next year.
Well, I don't know Round Tower's specific circumstances, but I imagine clubs around the country this year are probably hit by player losses, because this is the first year that guys can actually head off. Like there's nothing to stop them. The last couple of years, even when you could travel, you were perhaps waiting for the rug to be pulled under because you didn't know if restrictions would come back in.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation. The GA said let's bring the season forward and help the club players, and in fact it's given the club players nearly a bigger window to do such things.
McDermott Rowe.
That's a great solo off his left.
Fantastic. McDermott Rowe onto the left once again, the trusty left, and he guides that one over. That's his third from play. They've all been beauts. It's looking good for Castleknock result-wise. Ben Galvin. Kilkenny loves that, doesn't he? Taking the ball in contact and just shaking players off. Berg tangles with him, but he got his pass away anyway. Forward goes from Sawyer. Ben Galvin. Wide.
Unlike him, he's normally accurate there in those positions. I'm wondering will Lusk think about putting someone man marking Kieran, because they know that he's going to look for possession. They know he's going to be creative. Would it be in their psyche to sort of put someone on him and keep him a little bit quieter?
It's getting closer in O'Toole Park. It's now Lucan 1-8, Whitehall Culmkill 8 points, 3 between them. 6 between the teams here and 19 to go. Don't forget, coming up later, Nafina against Skerry's Harps. Subscribe to Dubs TV and YouTube, and all of these games will pop up automatically. All of these games and all of the other great content we have. Don't forget to follow all the Dublin GA social media channels, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, etc.
Lusk brought on that full forward now, and he's a bit of a height advantage. So I'm wondering, are they thinking of maybe going in the aerial route to there?
Well, they'll need goals even this early, it looks like that. But they'll also need possession to get those goals, and it's stolen back by Dara Warnock. Now it's Tommy McDaniel. Warnock's inside, Sawyer's up top. McDaniel, he's such a hard winner. Back into Warnock. Lays it off. It's McDermott Rowe who settles for a point.
Yeah, that's good play. Strong running by McDaniel. Good support by Warnock, and then excellent hand, ball to hand every time. It's not going to make a mistake there if it goes to hand every time. I think Lusk were looking for a bit of a free underneath us here.
That's a fantastic take by Grobbelaar. Grobbelaar looks down the line, looking for Sean Bollard. It was really well read and really well defended by Kieran Murphy. Bollard wants to take it quickly, but there's no one really to aim with. They've got Sean Flood in or around the square, but Castleknock had 2 or 3 back there to mind the house.
That's twice the Lusk players are waiting for the ball to come to them, and the Castleknock defender has the advantage of momentum to get through.
Kilkenny looking inside for Sawyer. It's a miscue. It was well read by Luke Cole. Out to Adam Cole. Oisin Berg running onto it. Berg goes in. Here's the first high lofted ball to Sean Flood, but it doesn't get as far as him. Was he fouled? Referee says no.
Yeah, +1 did his job there. Took up a great position out in front, 10 metres, so it had to be a very accurate pass to try and get it in there in front of him.
Outside it goes. Lovely pass by McDermott Rowe. Ben Galvin streaking down the wing. McDaniel's inside, he is covered. Galvin takes it on himself, and it doesn't get there. (11-4) when you make the conversion. 7 between them. For Castleknock, a place in the quarter-finals at stake. They made the quarter-finals last year as well, and they're used to getting through tight groups. Last year they had to go to a playoff with Ballantyre to get to the quarter-final. That's how tight it was. Those two actually couldn't be separated in the group standings.
Yeah, look, Castleknock, you know, in the area that they're in, there's a lot of competition for players with different clubs out there, Plunkets, and, you know, Lucan is just across the Liffey as such, but there's always something around, and, you know, it's very competitive. So they want to try and draw the best players to their club from the various schools. So, like, and again, they've got players out there, are big game players that have had you know, inter-county experience, well, with Dublin or Westmeath, or fellas have had chances with Dublin Pannons National League and O'Byrne. So, you know, this is their chance to play the bigger games and be noticed by county selectors.
Kevin Stevenson is in for Castleknock, and I can tell you that Lucan have opened it back up to a 4-point gap against Whitehall. Colmkill 110, plays 9 points there in O'Toole Park. Here's Adam Call. Can he narrow the gap for his team? Harford. Hussey. Hussey can get forward and get scores. We just haven't seen him try much today. As in, haven't seen him in those positions to go for scores. He
had a shot there a couple of minutes ago, and it was not the right one. Like, in fairness to the full forward for Lusk, there's a lot of movement inside from him, both coming out and getting back inside, but the boys are slow to get it into him if that's the option that they want to be taking.
McDaniel, support has arrived. Stevenson gets to it and tries to shovel it over the crossbar. That's a fantastic point by Stevenson.
That's a great bit of skill to take it on the slide and then have the calmness about him to finish with a fisted score. That's excellent skill and a great score.
Fantastic stuff from Kevin Stevenson. Cole knocked it. Hussey. Yes, I was just saying there, we've seen Hussey get up and down but not get into many shooting positions, and the one shot he did take didn't quite work out. Running out to get that is Sean Bollard. They can't find a pass through. Knockton was running, but Castleknock will tidy this up very, very easily.
Yeah, he would normally contribute on the scoreboard, definitely for Lusk, and it's something that they're missing at this moment in time, is getting that driving force from a half-back midfield area. It's important to them.
Boland and Kilkenny playing away. Tom Quinn, Boland, moved on by Forker. McDermott Rowe. McDermott Rowe. Castleknock pushing forward in numbers, running in behind is Tom Shields. Brilliant work from Tom Shields, gets it under control, has a runner inside, that's Kieran Murphy. Stealing in is Jack Hussey.
Great play, great play. And maybe today is not the day for Jack to get scores, but to do things like that for his team in defence. You know, I think always a player should see how the game goes early on, and if it's not a shooting day, well, maybe I need to work a little bit harder somewhere else.
Grobler's pass intercepted by Warnock. Grobler tries to get it back and fouls. It's a free out. Grobler is being ticked here, or is he going into the book?
Yes, needs to be a little bit sterner. I didn't see much in it either, really. That's the first yellow card, and it has been a fair enough game. There's been some good contests. Lusk now bringing on another sub. Kieran Murphy's coming on.
110 to 9 points. Lucan lead against Whitehall Clonkill. It's a free for Round Towers of Lusk. The man who's just come on, Kieran Murphy. So we've got 2 Kieran Murphys on the pitch, 1 on either side. Hussey. Keelan Harford recycles. Murphy, who's just come on. Chris Tonge. Murphy. Tonge. Popped off to Aaron Nocton, who turns. Nocton looking for a way through. Hussey. 2 close him down. Great work from Castleknock. Knocking it out of his hands with Senan Forker. Senan Forker, who is one of the driving forces of this Castleknock team.
He's been really strong there around the middle of the park. Himself and Tom Shields have a fine partnership. Normally you'd probably see Shane Boland and himself in there and Tom playing half-back, but definitely the 2 boys have been a bit of a cornerstone for them around the middle of the park.
McDaniel. Sawyer makes his way out. He wants it. Sawyer, who's a goal getter for Castleknock in hurling and football. It's laid off, and coming through here is Kilkenny, and that's over the crossbar.
Yeah, Kieran came from deep there and it worked out very nicely. Again, ball to hand, you can't really make much mistakes if the ball is going to hand. It's not skidding away, and it's a fine score.
Sawyer teeing it up nicely, something he'd be well used to as a caddy of some repute in golf. They just ran out of pitch there. It's a line ball to Round Towers, and I think they know at this stage the game is done, the game is gone. (110) Lucan, 10 points. Whitehall Clonkill, 3 between them. Remember, if Lucan and Castleknock win, it comes down to scoring difference between Lucan, Castleknock and Whitehall. They go into a effectively 3-team kind of mini league between them. David Diaz spills it. Castleknock win it back. Tommy McDaniel chasing back is Kevin Stevenson, who got one of the best points of the championship so far a couple of minutes ago, sliding onto it and fisting it over. Shane Boland outside to Niall Milmore. Forker. Stevenson. Shaw.
I think this will be just possession for Castleknock. They might pick off 1 or 2 more scores. If they can get a goal, they'd be delighted with that. But they seem to be well in control, and Lusk, even with their substitutes coming on, haven't really made much of a difference or an impact to the game.
McDaniel spilled it outside, got it back, gives it inside to the runner. That's Niall Milmore. He goes to ground. It's a free in.
It'll be interesting now to see how bad that injury was to Owen O'Brien. You know, if Castleknock were to get into a quarter final, maybe a couple of weeks' time, will he be able to recover from that? Was it like a cramp, or was it actually a calf pull? Something like that could be 2 to 4 weeks.
It was just the way he fell immediately after delivering that pass. You knew it was serious. Dara Warnock. Tommy McDaniel. Looking for Kilkenny and finding him. Kilkenny's already got 1. He's looking for 2. Good score from Kilkenny.
He just rode that tackle so well, you know. He wasn't in a great position, and most players would be knocked off or knocked to one side with the contact, but he was well able to take that and balance himself and take a good score.
Well, Castleknock were decent in their first 2 games, but when you have Kilkenny to call on, it just makes you that bit better, doesn't it? And this isn't even a fully fit Kilkenny. Healy tries to guide it back out to Grobbler. Hussey. Healy. Grobbler. Murphy. Back inside to Grobbler. He's a big lad, he doesn't mind taking on defences, but he took too much out of it. It's a free out. Shaw setting his teammate free. That teammate is Conor Chalk.
It's had a quiet game today, Chalk. Really, really quiet inside.
Boland. Shields. Flashes it wide.
Not renowned for his shooting. It's his hard work out the pitch that he's normally used to, but he pushed up there to try and support.
5 to go, and it's 14-10 when you make the conversion.
Fourteen to 4.
14-4. Sorry, what was I saying? 14-10.
Whitehall would be happy if it was 10 points. Actually, if the score difference come down to it.
This is why I'm glad you're here. This is why I need a minder. Hussey. He thought about going direct there, but instead just laid it off to James Hanratty. And all of the players who are making an impact for around Towers of Lusk in the first half haven't really done so in the second. Hanratty, who ran in behind a lot, he hasn't been allowed, to be fair. Castleknock have kind of shut them down. Hussey, he had no choice there. There was no route through. He had to go out wide. Now it's a big high lofted ball looking for Flood, and it bounces wide.
Disappointing outcome.
Since he's come on, they've only put 2 diagonals in. They've both been poor enough balls.
And maybe should give a little bit of credit again to the marker. He's not committing himself to the contest in the air, and he's actually putting a little bit of pressure on him, enough to put him off his jump, and has done well. That's young Burke came on as a sub, has done well.
Lucan 111, Whitehall Columkill 11 points in around 10 minutes to go there. Shaw into the hands of Ger McDermott Rowe. Shane Boland, the manager, who will be happy with his team's performance.
This is his first real soiree out the pitch.
It's something he loves to do. He hasn't done too much of it today, as you say.
Yeah, he normally plays that midfield role for them and pushes forward, but today he's been orchestrating things at number 6, and he's been really solid in his defensive duties and keeping control of that.
Well, they say of some players it's like having a manager on the pitch. It's literally the case with him.
Yeah, difficult skill. I did it for 8 years at Whitehall myself back in the late 90s, and it was a difficult thing to do, but I was very fortunate. I had great selectors and coaches on the sideline to make the changes, and whatever they decided, I would never question it. Did
you ever take yourself off or drop yourself?
I gave myself a good telling off a few times. Alright.
McKittrick, as the rain gets a bit heavier. Don't forget, we've got Nafina and Skerry's Harps coming up live here on Dubs TV. Luke Cole.
And we have nearly every player inside the 50, if not already, in that half of the pitch, so you can just see how crowded it is and how awkward it is even now for
Healy.
That's a good score.
That's a very good score. Deserves it for his efforts today.
We're right in saying he was taken off and came back on again.
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, he came back on as a sub. And he went in like the Twin Towers inside himself.
Sometimes when changes are made here in Parnell Park, it's hard to spot because they're not announced and there's no sign that goes up.
Yeah, I was looking at the boots.
Jack Hussey. Here's Adam Cole. They're looking for 2 points in a row.
Done.
It's a mini revival. good fight and effort from Round Towers of Lusk.
Yeah, and it's credit to them. It's not as if Castleknock are backing off. It's now that actually Lusk are actually putting in a little bit of a shift, a little bit of an effort, working a little bit harder, finding gaps, and they're taking good shots. I'd like them to press it now a little bit. I'd like them to put a little bit of pressure on the kick out, force it for them. And they have done that, and they've got a free inside. So a little bit of energy about it. Well done to them.
So a chance for Round Towers of Lusk to get possession close to goal. It is a throw up because there was players in the D when the goal kick was taken, or the kick out was taken. Kilkenny flying through the air, keeps it alive. Bit of a Superman. Back inside to Shields. Unfortunately for Round Towers of Lusk, they couldn't take advantage of that slip up and that error. Forker. Murphy. Stevenson's outside, gives it to Stevenson. Stevenson getting inside Jack Hussey. Lays it off. Warnock spills it in possession. It's good tackling by Round Towers of Lusk.
Tackle, yeah. He played the ball, it was easily seen that he knocked it out of hands.
Chris Tonge looking inside for Flood.
That's why he's there.
Flood takes it, wins the possession, gets it to Adam Cole. Healy got a fine point a couple of minutes ago, just didn't quite catch that one right. Referee wants a word here with Tommy McDaniel. Not sure why. Maybe there was something off the ball.
I don't know whether it was he was shouting or arguing over whether it should have been a free at the other end.
It's a yellow for McDaniel. Lucan 114, Whitehall Columbkill 12 points. That's not a final score. Castleknock 111, Round Tower 6 points. That is a final score. So we'll wait until the game ends over in O'Toole Park. Before we go off air, we'll try and clarify exactly what that means for the group. Castleknock are not jumping up and down at the moment. They're waiting too, I think. For Round Towers of Lusk, it's a really disappointing day. They performed at times, they just didn't put a 60-minute performance together. For Castleknock, they knew what they had to do and they did it. Still to come, by the way, we've got live coverage of Nafina and Skerry's Harps, and we'll keep an eye on the other game in the group going on. But our concentration will stay on this group for now. We'll have a look at the highlights in just a moment, but let's have a look at the highlights now. Paul, Castleknock started well in the second half and never really looked back. Round Towers of Lusk never got close to them.
Yeah, I was surprised the way they went about the game today. They didn't press up as much on the kickouts as I thought. They didn't play with 4 players up front as they did in previous rounds. But they were patient enough in all they did. Who was important to them was Shane Boland at centre back. Their 2 midfielders gave them a great sort of stable base. Scores from McDermott Rowe was very consistent. The goal came at a nice time and was taken very well. So all round, I'd say they'd be happy enough. The injury to O'Brien, will that be costly to them? And they brought on some subs, actually made a bit of an impact. Obviously Kieran with 2 points, and young Stevenson came on and got a great score, as you'd mentioned. So they were consistent right through without being spectacular.
Got some nice scores in the second half. McDaniel, he's a nightmare for defenders. He'll run at you all day and he'll create things.
Scores, fine score.
That's fantastic. There was a little clip on the hand on the way through, but he deserved that bit of luck.
Yeah, it's good use. Lusk themselves, they settled into the game. They kept possession. They were patient enough. They got a couple of scores. It's unfortunate that they finished off with 2 scores that they didn't actually push on that little bit more earlier on in the second half, knowing maybe that the game was going away from them. But interesting enough, the shape that they had about their game, was a game plan that they stuck to right through. They had a plan A, but maybe didn't have a plan B if things weren't going their way.
We'll try as they might. Round Towers of Lusk got a few nice scores, but just could never get enough to threaten Castleknock. That was good from Adam Cole. And that was it for them. So Castleknock win 111 to 6 points. That's the full-time score from this game. We're still waiting a full time from the other game between Lucan and Whitehall Columkill. It goes into a mini league between these three if Lucan win, and it looks like they are going to get the victory because they were, well, if not cruising, certainly they had the advantage. They're in the last minute there. It's 114 Lucan, it's 13 points for Whitehall Columkill. Cormac Costello with a free to keep Whitehall Columkill in it. Nervy moments this, isn't it, at the end of the group stages of the Go Ahead Dublin Senior Football Championship. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and all of these games will pop up automatically. You won't have to go looking for them, they'll find you. And of course keep an eye on all of the Dublin GAA social media channels for all of the latest from Dublin GAA. The game is not over yet. Castleknock are definitely through, I can confirm that. So Castleknock have gone through, so anyone who's watching from Castleknock will be absolutely delighted with that. Lucan and Whitehall Columkill still playing on. Keep an eye on the social media channels for that. It does look like Whitehall Columkill will go through with them, even though they're losing at the moment against Lucan. So it's looking good for Whitehall Columkill. That is not 100% confirmed, but it is looking very, very good for them. The only full time we have in the group so far is from here. They're still playing on between Lucan and Whitehall Columkill, and we're in this strange situation, Paul, of commentating on a game that we're not watching. But Lucan they'll feel really aggrieved if they go out because they've come so close.
Yeah, and probably Whitehall going into the game would have felt that they would have beaten Lusk, probably lost to Castleknock, and then the last game would have been the one that mattered. Maybe the manner of victory against Castleknock, they thought maybe their work was done, and that it didn't really make a difference going into this one. But when it comes to groups of four, you have 3 matches. You go out to win the 3 matches to secure things under your own power. So like Whitehall would be disappointed that they're in this situation, that they're coming off the pitch now looking at the results from elsewhere or looking at league tables and points difference. So it's going to be interesting few moments when we see what happens and what comes through.
Well, that game is still going on. The latest we have is that Whitehall Columkill are trailing against Lucan, but it does look like at the moment they're going through. Let's just talk about Castleknock because they are definitely through. We've got that confirmed. They will go through to the quarterfinals, and they'll be happy with that, especially after the blow they took against Whitehall Columkill. To recover from that, to do what they need to do, that puts them in a good place going through to the last 8, doesn't it? Yeah,
2 weeks from that game gave you enough time to get back on the training pitch, discuss what went wrong. The question would be in that game at Whitehall, in that goal, was it the keeper's ball or was it the full back to deal with? They would have rectified that. They would have discussed it and said, well, look, that's not going to happen again. You set out your team today to play. You said you have Kieran Kilkenny on the bench. You've changed maybe your structure and the way you're going to play the games just a little bit to get through and make sure a victory is secured. So that's their main objective. What they're usually scoring, it probably wasn't up to their normal standards, but they kept the scoreboard ticking over. They had no quiet periods in the game where they weren't scoring. And they still had key players like Ben Galvin had a quiet game, and that's normally not what his form is like. Rob Shaw wasn't attacking as much as he normally does. He seemed to be had a bit of a man marking role on Aaron Norton, and Tom Quinn as well. So are we seeing the shape of Castleknock in this game and the way players set out? Is that more like what we're going to get from them going forward? So it's going to be interesting to see who they get in the next round. You're guaranteed no one will want to play them because of their previous experience and previous, how they've gone in previous championships.
Well, they are still playing over in O'Toole Park, and it is still Lucan who lead, but as it stands, Whitehall Columkill will join Castleknock in the next round. Tense moments for these clubs, isn't it? I wouldn't like to be part of any of the clubs there because it's such a nervy time. It's a tough time, but we'll try and bring you the latest when we possibly can. They are still playing, so that game obviously started a little bit later, or maybe there were some delays. So they're still playing over there in O'Toole Park. You know what we'll do? We'll wrap it up, but we will be back live very shortly for Nafina against Skerry's Harps. You can keep an eye on the Dublin GA Twitter page for the latest from that game, and more importantly, I suppose, the ramifications of it. Whitehall Colmkill are trailing against Lucan, but as it stands, it looks like they will go through alongside Castleknock. There's really not much more I can add here, because as they're still playing, it's a game that does have importance for both of those teams involved, but we can't give you any more information than that. And I think what we'll do, Paul, is we'll wrap it up and we'll react to whatever happens very, very shortly when we bring you live coverage of Nafina against Skerry's Harps. And we'll also keep an eye on the other game in the group, which is very important. That also going on in O'Toole Park. I'll just try and see if there is a full time in yet from the game over in O'Toole Park. I don't think there is, but certainly they've played an awful lot of injury time. Whitehall Colmkill have got a goal in the 67th minute, so obviously there was a delay of some sort. We were watching this game, so we didn't.
It wasn't a free from Cormac Costello, was it?
It wasn't. Well, I don't know. It's a goal for Whitehall. I don't know the detail. They have got a goal. There is 1 point between them. So 114 plays 113. So that looks absolutely certain now that Whitehall Colmkill have done enough, even if they lose, to get through. So Whitehall Colmkill looking very good to get through. They're a point down in the 7th/8th minute of injury time, but on the scoring difference and all that, it looks like they're good to qualify against with Castleknock. I sound very unsure of myself because all of this could change in a second, but okay, let me just be absolutely clear, having been unclear for the last 10 minutes. Castleknock are through, and as it stands, Whitehall Colmkill, despite the fact that they're losing, will join them. 8 minutes of injury time played in O'Toole Park, and from what I can gather, they are still playing. We are getting messages. We're having pigeons deliver the messages over to us. It's old school. It's a strange situation, isn't it? And it always happens on the last day of the championship, that there's some twist and there's some turn, and we end up commentating on a game that we're not watching, and are basically commentating on WhatsApp messages that we're receiving from O'Toole Park. They are still playing. Will we hang on, Paul? Is there anything, what do you make of the weather? Is there anything you want to talk about?
Well, time here? I thought to be a little bit more slippy and slidey from players today, but no, the actual handling of players today was exemplary.
Yep.
You would have thought maybe, and I said it before the game, that could have been a difficulty, or there would have been a problem, that mistakes like that. Instead, it was a couple of poor foot passes, which made handling, not as easy. But no, like, the crowd is small, but they got a reasonably entertaining game if you're from both camps,
Yeah, and Castleknock, they will fancy themselves to march on in the Dublin Championship, especially now that Kieran Kilkenny is back. And that was big for them, wasn't it? Getting Kilkenny back on the pitch. And he actually grew into the game. I won't say he looked nervy when he came on, but he did want the ball more as the game went on and as his time on the pitch progressed.
Yeah, well, when he wants it, and if you're a player looking up the pitch, and a player of Kilkenny's stature and quality looks for a ball, you're going to give it to him. And he'll make the most of it. That's why I just was querying whether Lusk would try and actually put someone on him to deprive him of possession, but it would have been a fair player to try and do that. He contributed, on the scoreboard. It's what he wants, and it's a plus to them. Another 2 weeks training, and he'd be a little bit sharper going into the next round, into quarterfinals.
They are involved in hurling as well. Is that a good thing to have the distraction, or from the footballing point of view, if you're Shane Boland, the manager, would you want them to focus solely on the one sport?
Well, when you think about it, Lucan also have a decent hurling team, and Whitehall have a decent hurling team. So all these top teams that are competing in this group actually have a lot of dual players. If they're not a lot of dual players, they have players that battle between the two, and it's important that your football manager and your hurling manager get on well. It's important that the chairman of the club makes sure that they get on well, so players don't get burnt out and don't have a distraction. But it's just a different focus each week.
They're still playing in O'Toole Park. In fact, you may have heard the message alert popping up there. It is full time. Lucan have won by a point, but Whitehall Colmkill go through. So it's Castleknock and Whitehall Colmkill who come out of this group. Lucan can consider themselves very unlucky. They did their best, but have just fallen short. 114 to 113, the final score there. Lucan beat Whitehall Colmkill, but Whitehall Colmkill get through. And how important was that goal for Cormac Costello against Castleknock to keep their hopes alive. They did enough today to get through. So Castleknock go through 111 to 6 points. The final score against Round Towers of Lusk, and Whitehall Colmkill go through despite their defeat to Lucan. Right, we'll take a breath. As you can see, the warm-ups are going on for the next game, Lafina against Skerry's Harps. We'll bring that to you live on Dubs TV. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and all of these games and every bit of content that we put up there will pop up automatically. We'd love for you to join us via the hashtag GoAheadDSF1. You can join us via the social media channels so we can get your thoughts on the games that we're watching or anything else that is going on. Just to confirm as well, by the way, Castleknock top the table, Whitehall Colmkill go through, Lucan are third, and Round Towers of Lusk, for them, they still have work to do. They'll be battling relegation, but they will fancy their chances of staying up given what they've done over the last couple of years. So Castleknock win the group, Whitehall Colmkill are second, they go through alongside Castleknock, Lucan third, and Round Towers of Lusk finish bottom of the group, and they'll have to battle relegation. That's it for the first game. We'll be back with the second game very soon, so stay with us.